All right, all right. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Should be able to hear, see the screen, all that good stuff. Mr. Blue here, TradePhantoms.com. Welcome, welcome, welcome. J.O. Jopin Open Shop, my man. Good morning. That's a great way to start the morning. IOF, what's going on? ICT, good morning, good morning. All right, cool. Mr. Blue here, TradePhantoms.com. We are going to go through a pre-market prep, take you to kind of the open, and if we have some trading opportunities, I will be glad to deploy and execute upon that. Timestamp date, last day of September. It brings us to the 30th, 2025, Tuesday. Tomorrow is going to be Wednesday, October 1st. Of course, new month. Make sure you're updating your candles. We have a monthly bar or candlestick closing, of course, at the EOD end of day today. So make sure you're updating that. And speaking of that, I bring this up every morning. Might as well just start there, right? Main backdrop of Phantom's trading strategy is going to be institutional demand and supply demand, with a top-down multiple time frame analysis approach. And what you'll see on my charts is you will see a bunch of color codes being orange, yellow, and blue. And that has to do with the color code here. So anything that you do see in the color orange has to do with the monthly time frame. Of course, weekly time frame is going to be yellow, followed by daily color code is going to be blue. So therefore, mapping out last month's high, last month's low, which at the end of the day today, we're going to have September bar closing, for example. So you want to make sure you're updating that, right? What was September's high? What was September's low as we move forward and progress throughout the days. Here's a quick little checklist that, I just give for the Phantoms members there. Okay, monthly, weekly, daily. We do go through this, of course, and do more time. It's just a quick little pre-market prep and live trading. So, we gotta hit this where the rubber meets the road. So we gotta hit it, right? So we got bullish candlesticks, a bunch of fancy names. What's going on, Eric A? 1 ounce of theory. What's going on, Kurt G? Charles. Good morning to you folks. A bunch of fancy names. However, location and context are going to be more important here. So instead of memorizing the names here, executing them in the proper timing in terms of, and this is bullish, so with demand zones in the context of uptrends. We got a bunch of fancy names for bearish candlesticks as well, but however, same thing. Location and context is going to be more important. Typically going to be looking for this in supply levels, supply zones in the context of downtrends. I know it's difficult at the moment in equities where we are in an uptrend bull market. Last but definitely not least is going to be the liquidity map. We have quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 actions, buys and sells, but 4 different kind of possibilities, if you will. All right, buy to enter, in which you need to sell to exit, and or sell short to enter, which is going to provide extra accumulation for shorts, and then it's going to be a buy to cover to exit. We got quadrants 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a quick little map as well for liquidity in regard to liquidity, where we base this on, of course, trainings as we train potential future traders to be on the right side of the market and ride. Cool, that's enough there. We got Forex Factory. I'll just go here real quick. In economic news, today being Tuesday, the 30th here. Long story short here is we have JOLTS data, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So about 9:30 a.m. Eastern, of course, the market opens. 30 minutes after that, make a note of this. JOLTS job openings and consumer sentiment. So that might, move the markets, give or take some decent impact there. For the rest of the week, we got ISM manufacturing, ADP tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, unemployment. And I don't know, we're supposed to have non-farm payroll, NFPs on Friday. However, the bullshit political BS, right? When we don't play politics at Phantoms, that's for sure. We park that at the front door, and it's not allowed in the doors there. However, I got to say that the rumors these days right now, or if it's true or not, the government shutdown, right? Is that going to happen? Yes or no? The only reason why I'm even bringing that up, not to speculate that, is because if, of course, the government does shut down, they're saying that we might not be able to get this non-farm payroll data on Friday. But we'll see. Not sure. But, we'll cover it today. Carpe diem today, seize the day today, and then we'll unravel that as we go out through the week there. All right, that said, so just put a note on that. We'll see. As we stand right now, 10 a.m. Eastern, that's the only thing that we really need to concern ourselves with at the moment for today. Cool. So I'll start this off with what's going on, Mark Wahlberg? What's going on, Daniel King? Quality Transportation. I see you, brother. Start off with the major four indexes in regard to futures. I know you can't see the chart, but we do have in the background there, behind these lines, S&P on a daily time frame. That's S&P futures upper right. I'm sorry, upper left. NASDAQ futures upper right, Dow Jones low left, Russell 2000 bottom right. The main party is going to be where the S&P and the NASDAQ is for the most part. And I know it's going to be hard to see a bit here with the candles. Here's the current price, of course. And now yesterday, being the, wait, am I right here? I'm sorry. Here's the current price, candle. Can't even see that. Yesterday, I had a little bit of an up day. Nothing too crazy. Broke out outside of the prior day's inside bar. We had an inside bar on Friday. Broke out a little bit here. The last week, essentially, we basically had, to keep it short and sweet here, we had a nice little pullback. Okay, we were talking about the couple of levels down below here. Okay, at the 20 pip moving average. Okay, right here, and that is a highlighted blue line, so kind of sloping up. And as you can see at the S&P futures, the other time frame here, we kind of came down here. He gave a little bit of a quote unquote we call kind of mean reversion. We had last week's low at around here. Could not swipe below last week's low, but we had that level kind of wrapped around there. Okay, and then that was on Thursday, right there, that sweep. And then on Friday, here being the 26th, okay, we had a slight little rally to the market, but we had no juice for the most part. Ended up being kind of a little bit of a range Friday as we kind of impulse. This is a correctional wave here. So the markets, of course, is still in a macro bull market. This is the correction. The question is going to be here are we going to have potential what's called follow through to the upside to even potentially revisit the all-time high, which is the equal high here, 67.5675 S&P futures, and potentially pop out into a quick little new high, albeit it could just be a little tag, give or take. Or is this going to be the correction where we're trying to pump up here to have another, again, as mentioned, new leg higher high? Or is this going to kind of die out, not get enough steam, and we could potentially expect a bit of a range here in the event that we could just clock some time here. Now, it is the end of the month, of course, for September. September typically would be where you have September, kind of October-ish, but more September, you'd have more of a pullback for that month. We haven't really got that as much. We got a little bit of a pullback last week. Okay, but again, yeah, these markets are just still on a tear, just kind of grinding their way to the upside here. The question is going to be, this week at the end of September, coming into a new month of October, are we going to pop out this quick little new high for the new month, and then potentially have our correction or not? So I don't want to speculate too much on that at the moment. But one thing I will say, and especially on last Friday, gave a clue to this. The battle is on, right? What do I mean by the battle? Well, the bulls and the bears, the buyers and the sellers. We have this pullback down. We have a rebalance here, mean revert. We're trying to punch back up. But of course, we got sellers that are trying to hold it back down. So we have to be a little bit careful in navigating this range here. It could be a little bit of a chop on Friday, as mentioned. We were talking a little bit about that. Okay. But yeah, all things being equal, just be patient, be diligent. We're in the middle of a pullback phase and a pullback phase here, and then a potential leg for a new high here. But that fight is happening here in the middle. We'll map out our Globex sides, Globex lows, etc. Yesterday's high, yesterday's lows, and we will map out our Globex traps as always. NASDAQ, I can say the same thing. And here's the current price if you can make out what that looks like here. All right, a couple of green bars, starting off on Friday. Here's Friday into Thursday, right? Last week pullback. Here's the rising 20, right? The prior week's low there. Now we have a prior week's low here. All right, we'll map that out. Okay, and same thing, right? Pullback into the rising 20, and are we going to pop out a new high? And as you can see, I kind of drew this ugly trend line right here, just to visualize, if you will. We have the forces to be up, okay, and then we have a pullback correction, and we're kind of already snapping that a little bit here, right? Or here's a pullback here, right? They're kind of already snapping above that if you do your silly, not silly, but trend lines, etc. Right? And we're starting to break that. So again, we'll see how tech. This is as NASDAQ futures on the daily time frame. We'll see how tech comes out. Today into tomorrow as the week continues to see if we can potentially get this new all-time high 25,027 in NASDAQ. Okay, even if it's a quick little watermark tag right there. All right, we're gonna map out our Globex highs and Globex lows and our G traps in a moment. All right, which I'll do right now actually. End of quarter as well. Yep, a lot of things happening. Indeed, sir. Would you consider it as a daily controlling lower high? Would you consider it as the daily controlling lower high YF? What's going on, Singapore? What's going on, brother? There's no low like in S&P futures. So would you consider it as the daily controlling lower high? It could be a lower high being put in YT. If you're considering this, we have an impulse, correction, impulsion. Here's the correctional move coming into that rising 20 pair moving out right there. Okay. And this is a push higher here, right? I'm assuming this is your question where this could be potentially the controlling lower high that could be put in. We don't know that just yet, right? Now, if this were to make a new lower low, right, for example, let's say that happens, and let's say that this we cannot continue higher, we do not make a new high, and then we make a new low right here, that right below last week's low, and taking out this even the prior even 2 weeks ago low right here, and below the 20 period moving average, that could put in a that could put in a segment right there, right, where you have a left shoulder head. This could be the right shoulder. The only challenge with that is if you do that, okay, you're just basically short. You'd be early on this leg lower, but that might not unravel because we have this. This is still the correction. This is still the potential. What's making out to be the impulsion wave, okay, for a potential new high. Now, if you get in front of that and say, okay, this is not going to make a new high, Mr. Blue, I'm going to lean against this little yesterday's kind of topping tail, if you will, which is not the greatest one in the world here, as a potential pivot in which this market's not even going to break this pivot and go higher. And maybe test last week's low and potentially go lower down here. That would be the first segment down. Okay, right? Does that make sense? It's still a little bit too early. You could take a shot at that. All right, but if you're wrong, you just have to be like, okay, well, there it is. Right? I'm trying to short what could be a leg lower here. Okay, but I'm still in the impulse correction. This could easily just wipe you out, YT, right? And you get stopped out here, making a quick new high. Does that make sense, brother? All right, you'd be early on that impulse leg lower, but being early sometimes is wrong. Right, so we'd have to make a new impulse low, and then the dailies would be triggering us into at least a quick little short-term structure change at the moment. All right, but even that is still going to be a little harder too, because again, even if we swipe lower, that could be a little liquidity sweep lower. So I'm at first I'm kind of expecting a bit of a range. Okay, we could go into a Q4 kind of range as we get kind of close out into the end of the year. Okay, but we'll see. Right, typically September, October, we could have a little more of a pullback too. September really didn't give it to us. All right, so we'll see. So just take it like bar by bar. And right now, as we stand, structure-wise, this is still going to be working on as if the new, and it might not be a quick, crazy impulse, but again, just a quick little new high. But if that quick little new high happens, that's going to wipe out this pivot right here. All right, does that make sense? So I know everybody kind of wants to have this market go down and short, but you got to be patient with that, folks. Okay, we got to be, we're hitting shorts intraday. Don't get me wrong, but they're very short-lived, right? As you see, if I open up let me give the lay of the land. We got a monthly here, weekly here, daily here. We got a 60-minute time frame, upper left, 30-minute time frame, bottom left. It will be a higher, lower, low, high. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean maybe. Yeah, you might be right. Gold star. I don't know. I don't even know what that is. So I got a 60-minute time frame here. 30 minutes at lower left, 5 minute here, 2 minute here. I'm going to pop open the 60-minute or the 1 hour time frame of the S&P futures. Now, kind of messy here. I kind of have this account for a live account just for kind of Phantoms members here. If you can kind of make out here, this is the gray space, 1 hour time frame S&P futures, gray space here, overnight session, and this is all like kind of like last week's work. We had some levels here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, we had some supply levels above. Okay, demand below. Okay, we have some G traps here. Markets actually on Monday. I'm sorry, Sunday evening into Monday early morning. We actually rallied back up over the weekend off of Friday. Okay, and we actually had this level here at 67.30 where I was mentioning how right above here we had some liquidity here. Markets ended up coming up here. Okay, and we pulled back. Okay, that was yesterday being Monday intraday, regular trading hours. Okay, and then I'm just going to update this now, and this is going to be what's called our new Globex high here. I'm going to represent that here. All right, I'll take these lines out. All right, but I'll keep those boxes on there for reference. All right, just to clean this stuff up here. All right. And this is going to be our Globex low for today. All right. Globex high, Globex low. Strategy is, do I have a level of institutional demand below said Globex low? And if I look down and left, okay, we do have some kind of demand down in here. That is noteworthy, of course. Now, are we still in an uptrend? We just talked a little bit about this with Yoav's question, right? We're still in a macro uptrend, right? Even though we had a pullback last week, albeit it didn't really break any daily structure. We just had a conversation about that, right? We couldn't even get to last week's. We actually did it in the SPYs, and the SPX got to last week's low, Qs as well, or around there. But we haven't even broke a prior weekly low or anything like that, right? So we just kind of went over that. So yes, last week we did have a short-term little, lower low, lower high on the 60-minute time frame, albeit, right, which came in lower to the dailies and the weeklies. Okay, And now, again, this is what I was talking about with YT, where we're trying to now line back up potentially, right? It doesn't mean that the market can't go down. I'm not saying that, but we're trying to line back up to the upside here, right? We're trying to line back up. So today is going to be pretty interesting in that where we had this pullback last week, early part, late Friday into this week being Monday, now Tuesday. Okay, we had a nice little rally, and this could be the basing here to build up some steam to potentially break out to the upside. Okay, but we could go lower before we go higher. Okay, and by the way, let's play devil's advocate here as well. Okay, and somebody else is kind of like, this is going to be a lower high and a lower low. It could be. Okay, we would have to come down, absorb this demand. This was the last week's low, by the way, not yesterday's low. This is going to be last week's low, by the way. Now, update that. I'll make this yellow. Oops. To signal kind of weekly time frame, if you will. You could just delete them, but I'll just use them for reference, but I won't keep crossing over to the left over here. Eventually, I'm just going to delete them, but usually I'll keep them on for a little bit so people can see kind of, what has happened from them, right? Does that make sense? But I'm not looking at this anymore because it already broke through. In fact, this supply level by T and team, all that did was create a what? See how we rallied up into supply? Right? See how when we rally up to supply, we hit it, right? Doink, and then we drop down. Then we drop down to this level here, and then we rally back up, and then we inevitably broke it, right? We inevitably broke it. So over here, notice what's happening here. We have a rally, came to supply, absorbed it, came back, dropped some supply, came down some demand, right? Rally back up. And then right below this again, we have a what? A rally, and it's starting to base because the bulls and the bears are starting to fight it out again, right? At a level, right? And then what happens? The buyers, boom, impulse basing. So this supply zone get inevitably, right? It did work out one time, first time back, right? Then the second time back, it what? Got broken, and it created an impulse basing, right? Because this basing is what the buyers that are trying to pick it up be getting matched with sellers, and they fight, base, and then pop. Who won? Buyers, right? So that supply level created a demand level on the other side. Y'all see that? Okay, and that's actually what we're bouncing off of right now. That's all this is, folks. Right? Demand and supply, flipping, etc. All right, so just try not to complicate. I'm not saying, well, y'all are complicating it. All right, but that's all it is. So even today, right now, as we speak, okay, we have this impulse basing impulse here. Okay, we already dipped into there. In fact, yesterday we even dipped into this. Right, that's the first time we rallied up. Right, base. We even rallied. We dropped back down a second time into it, creating that Globex low. Now this level's absorbed. So in the event that we break new lows below the Globex low, look down and left, we have this level of demand here. Now, if I were to score this level out, some of my phantoms, most phantoms will know this, but some folks that are visiting the YouTube channel, welcome, by the way, who are not official phantoms that might have gone through the actual strategy and content. This level's not fresh. It's not prime, if you will, right? So in the event that we do drop, is this a demand level? Yes. Is it the greatest level of demand? No. Okay, because we have an impulse basing impulse. We touched it here, even on Friday. Okay, and so if we come back down here again, it's not prime. Now, could we still use this? Of course we could, right? Still bull market, etc. However, if it's less reliable, we have to treat this with caution, and you might want to be a little bit more safer, if you will. So I'll put a aggressive notation on this with an asterisk and ARG, which means aggressive, or I should say ARG, right? That would be aggressive. So watch out. You might even want to put your entry right below this demand level where people have their stop losses right below here. Okay, so what I would say is you can potentially even put an entry right here at 66.50, 66.49-ish, and as people potentially get stopped out right below that shitty level, okay, there's another level below here, last week's low. Of course, I got to reference that. This could potentially be an entry, G-trap entry, stop loss. Joe Frank. So this is where stop losses are placed for demand, right? This could be where you could put an entry for longs. Just trust me, source. Just trust me, bro. Never trust anybody blindly. Not even I, says Mr. Blue. My notes, man. Why is the text hating today? There we go. Oh, it broke 66.50. It broke 66.50. It's going to go. It's going to go. Stop loss. Swipe. Entry long. Nice one there. 49 handle. All right, of course, if we snag below, there's a level here too as well. Last week's low there, folks, 6623. And then we have even another couple of lows in here. A ton of stuff down in here at this 6600, 6610, below 6623 handle. In the event that that happens, not sure if it's going to happen, but if it does, we're prepped on the downside. All right, if we break low back side, do I look up and left? Do I have level of supply? Yes, this is a kind of retest of this level here, right? That we kind of liquidity sweep. As always, I talked about that. If this level does get taken, we could take an aggressive G-trap short here, right? I mean, who am I to say you can't do that? It could happen. This is yesterday's high. Should you be putting your stop loss right above yesterday's high, right above this level, folks? Give me yes or no. Should you be putting your stop loss right above that level? In fact, this is a counter trend short, just like down here. You almost, especially on a short, meaning bearish in the context of a major uptrend, you definitely want to be more conservative. Yep, I'm gonna do Nasdaq next, and we're done here. This is the last thing. I'm gonna do Nasdaq as well. It's gonna be very similar to this. So if you paid attention to this, Nasdaq is gonna be extremely similar in regard to the G traps. This is still gonna get an aggressive ARG here. Alrighty then. All right, entry right above there with some stop losses above yesterday's high, above that supply, which by the way is a tag of this area here, just a liquidity sweep from this level, which we were prepped for here at TradePhantoms.com. All right, other than that, all-time high, baby. Done. All right, there's the lay of the land there. Pretty simple. We'll see. Basing. So watch out. There could be a sweepy day here today, right? Sweepy day, sweep. Nasdaq. Let's go, Caitlin. First time. First time for everything. Hopefully having a good time. I'm just going to get it. Wow, it's 9:11 already in terms of time. So I just got to go. Like, right. Here's last week's work here. Levels, right? Right above here. Crazy level of supply right above daily highs. Classic, right? Talking about that last week, etc. But today's today. Globex high here. Globex low here. Caitlin's like, what are all these lines? I don't understand this. This is my first time here. I'm going to clean this up a little bit here. This is the reference that we were talking about before. Clean this up a little bit. Reference that we were talking about before. Shouldn't have deleted that. Let me Control Z that bad boy back. This is now daily high here in blue. Just put yesterday's high. One hour time frame Nasdaq. Here's the current price. Overnight session. Gray space. Globex low. Globex high. Do I have a level of demand below Globex low? And it could say essentially the same thing that I said in the S&P futures in regard to the Nasdaq. Do I have a level down in here of demand? Indeed we do. Reference this. Okay. 573, quoting the last third here. Is this yesterday's low here, team? Indeed. Do I even have a level of demand below yesterday's low as well? And we also have last week's low here. What's going on, Lauren? Going way too slow this morning. All right, there you go. Now this level has a test over here, right? So again, as mentioned, you might even want to put your entry at the 24,500 handle as a potential liquidity sweep. All right, but we have a zone right there below, right below the Globex trap, down and left, right? Here's current price, down and left, right? So there's the zone, but watch out for that liquidity sweep right down in here. Nice even number there too, 24,500. And the thesis with a Globex trap is, if we were to drop lower, all right, there could be a short here. Don't get me wrong. Be careful. I'm going to investigate this with aggressive level below here. But people who are shorting, who are chasing price lower. Okay. Now don't get me wrong. If price, right, we had some shorts last week where it actually fell through lower, right? But we have to watch out for those demand levels as we're coming in, because you run into a wall of demand, right? So the point being here is, you want to, the thesis here with the Globex trap is, if you break that Globex low, when you, in the context of an uptrend overall, still, right? You want to trade with the trend overall in the higher time frames, monthly, weekly, dailies. We just had a small discussion with that based on YT's question, Yoav's question. But anybody who's like trying to chase price lower, down, red bar, short. Oh, we just broke 24,500. Oh, we just broke an even number. Well, all this demand down here below yesterday's low at around last week's low here as well. People who are chasing price, red bar lower, okay, at demand in the context of an uptrend, that's where people can get hurt, okay, for shorts. And this is where we're going to pick up some longs. Now, in the event that we do break the Globex high, all right, now, of course, we still have overall higher time frames, as mentioned, up. There's the all-time high in Nasdaq, right? We're flirting with that already. Even yesterday, very close to the all-time high. Again, this is what I'm saying. We had supply here, but of course these levels are getting what? Violated, right? They're getting cooked because we're still in a macro bull uptrend, right? So basing. If in the event that we break the Globex high, of course we do have yesterday's high supply up here. I mean, other than that, team, there's only a little level right there, and then the all-time high. Okay, so there's only 1 or 2 levels above current price, the all-time high, that, now we're at new all-time high. So again, even if this is a quick little tag, right, it could flush out some shorts. Okay, and that could be the case. Right, but we could go, of course, lower before we potentially go higher. All right. Now, right below this Globex low, we still do have a couple of basing impulse. We just had a little small discussion in that regard as well. I am going to map this one out. Okay, this would be a little bit more aggressive. It's right below this, right below this Globex low. We have a bit of an impulse. Basing impulse, and again, this is levels of supply here, right? Test, right? Drop, right? Rallied up, base, fight, and then the buyers, boop, popped out and beat the sellers. So this created a level of demand, and that happens to be right below said Globex low. Okay, so if you reference this area here, call it 24,700, give or take. You can work off this. I am going to put an aggressive tag / note on this. As that is just right below the G-trap low. I'm sorry, the Globex low. All right, but sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes it just breaks the Globex low, first level of demand. There is a structure there, right? And it is a flip, right? It's a flip. Basing bait, right? Drop, rallying up, supply, hit, right? Supply went deeper into supply, hit, absorption, rally back up, fight, and then the buyers picked up enough steam overall on the high time frame trend to kick the butt out of sellers, right? Overall on the high time frames. Okay, pop. So nice little area here, right below Globex low. All right, enough of that. VIX, where you at? Thank you for that, Charles. VIX, where you at? If you don't know what VIX is, you're going to need VIX body rub for your body. VIX down, market up. VIX up, market down. To keep it short and sweet, a lot more to that implied vol. We got a 16.5 VIX. So yes, even though the markets are dropping a little bit, that's the last week, but we're kind of recovering a little bit there. No big deal. It's okay to have a down week or a down couple of days. That's normal. Things just can't go up forever, right? It has to rain sometimes for sunshine. Right. Anyways, point being here, VIX 16.5. Still, markets are fairly complacent. Nothing too crazy there. We map out overnight high, overnight low in S&P futures, Nasdaq, and even gold. I just missed some gold. Hopefully, I'll catch some gold. But we got overnight high here, overnight low here in VIX. If VIX were to break the overnight high and sustain up here and higher, that could be more bearish. I'm sorry, bearish for the market. So VIX up, market down. If VIX were to break overnight lower, okay, this gray space here, it's sustained kind of lower. That could be a bit more bullish for the market. I kind of just use this as a pin last time I saw it, as we constantly update this. So more of a gauge, fair greed gauge, implied vol, SPX 30 days out. Going to go over to SPYs. I got a weekly on the left, by the way, daily on the right. I'll go to SPYs really quickly. I'm going to do some gaps. Get 12 minutes before the open. Okay. Again, weekly on the left, daily on the right. As you can see, up. You know, last week wasn't even a bearish candle for the most part. It was just a nice little rally, right? A rally overall. And last week, we just put in a high and a low here. A little bit of a doji candle there, no big deal. Revisited last week's low, couldn't even break it. Made a new all-time high in SPY, by the way. And then did a little bit of a doji bar there, right? No big deal, just digestion. Okay, for the week, all good. All right, already had a discussion about the pullback, right? What monthly VWAP? That's also the 20-period moving average as well, hovering over right and down in there. All right, so there's a pullback, and the question is going to be: is this pullback going to give us that new all-time high potential tag? We already had a discussion on that, so we're moving on. Now, yesterday's high, yesterday's low is here. All right, we have a slight gap down here. Okay, slight gap down, still going to be inside gap. Now, I will say, in regard to YT's question earlier, if this were to be okay, the what would be potentially the impulse, but no new high, and this would be the high, and we start to break below these candles here and close below these daily lows, that can give us a little bit of signal. Of course, at least we're going to be potentially ranging, at least revisiting last week's low, et cetera, et cetera. So again, sometimes the market just won't, you know, we need catalysts for this thing to just like really drop, et cetera, et cetera. You know, Fed's cutting the rates, et cetera. All right, but again, just, you know, it could be range, right? It could be range. So even if we do kind of drop lower, for that pivot to be put in, we need to absorb, you know, all this stuff down here, last week's low, okay, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, I don't want to get too heavy in that, but for right now, we have a slight gap down, still inside gap. It's about what, 0.12%, nothing too crazy. All right, we got to put a reference on yesterday's low here. All right, but be careful the first time below this low. There could be a liquidity sweep. Got a bunch of 2 weeks ago VWAP, and then last week's VWAP hovering around here as well. All right, so that could be a potential little sweep right there. You have to see closes below that. Below that kind of doji for any selling pressure to kind of really come in, maybe potentially this week, but be careful with that in the beginning. 0.12% down, give or take, taking this to the SPX, because we want to go over some options depth. 0.2, 0.12. Implied open, give or take. Nothing too crazy. I'd say what, 66.50, 66.55 plus or minus. Go over options depth. This is a heavy topic here. Kind of advanced. I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. This is very difficult for me, but 66.50-ish. Okay. 55-ish. And what's interesting about this is we got what, blue/green is going to be positive gamma, yellow/red colors are going to be negative gamma. We're opening up right on essentially a positive gamma node, and a little bit below, call it the 66.40 down to the 66.30, is a bit of a you know, slight negative gex a little bit below. There's actually negative gex above here too, so pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. We got a negative gex above and a slight negative gex below. So now negative gex or negative gamma, if as price is going through the negative or the yellows and the reds, price can just continue to go in terms of momentum. However, when you start to get into the darker blues and greens, okay, price gets stuck, if you will. All right, now we are opening at or around already a positive gamma node, so it'll be interesting. So right off the open, I want to be a little bit patient, but if we start to really get some closes above opening day's range, right, there's not much above here, okay, in terms of positive gamma to stop current price. A little bit of some gamma nodes here, but overall sold gamma. And a little bit slightly below. Now, if I look at what's more stronger in terms of negative gex, it's stronger negative gex above versus below. Now, when I mean stronger above, which in terms of negative gex, that means that it's actually more space for it to fly above in the event that we sift through this negative gamma. Okay, so you know, hopefully that makes sense. I know a lot of people are going to kind of get lost in the weeds on this. This is a heavy topic. The good news is, if you do go to Phantoms, okay, we have bonus sessions and you go through options and you learn all that. And you know, we take it from there. All right, as we update in about as we open in about 7 minutes, I will update this. But just know, team, real quick, if you know what you're looking at here, All right, we have a little bit of negative gaps above and below, so pretty interesting today. That's what I like to see, as price could potentially move through those negative gamma nodes. All right, calm this down. Qs, QQQ, weekly on the left. QQQs is the ETF for the NASDAQ, right? Potentially range day mark, right? Potentially. One of the things that gets myself in trouble, even as a veteran trader, is when I think too much about. It happened to me in Tesla, by the way, last week, where I got smacked because I was thinking too much about what's going to happen, and I got hurt. I took a loss on Tesla last week. Bad one, not a bad one. I shouldn't say a couple points, but it was bad in terms of the execution. It was not because of the money. It was bad because of the execution. So just be calm, cool, collected. Markets will unravel setups for you. So I don't know if today's going to be a range day or not, right? I try not to think so much about it because that's where I start to believe the bullshit that I'm telling myself in my brain, where I'm just a silly human being, right? Where the markets are doing their own thing, all right? They don't care what anybody thinks. QQQs, all right, could be a range day, but we could not have a range day. All right, got to be prepared for anything. All right. Anyways, welcome to that. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. That's Mark Wahlberg. He's the man. What's going on, Super Dave? Good morning to you, sir. QQQs, again, same thing, where, are we going to, is this enough steam, right? Is this enough, was pulled last, look at this beautiful uptrend. Is last week enough pullback, right? For this to potentially pop out into potential new high. NASDAQ is right there, folks. NASDAQ is right there. This is the QQQs. All right, we could go lower, of course. Watch out for yesterday's low. You have an unfilled gap right below there as well. Slight gap lower, no big deal. Apple, I'm going to let y'all know. I'm going to go through all the Mag 7 real quick. One of the ones that are not a Mag 7 being Apple, Amazon, Broadcom, Google, Tesla, the biggest stocks in the planet, right? One of the tickers that I'm looking at today is, well, two of them, potentially Carvana, CVNA. All right, I like this. Close yesterday off that 20 there, right? Slight gap down, but if this picks up some steam intraday, could be decent little. We'd have to clear this. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but I got this on the radar here today. So Carvana, and then the other one was Coin. Also looking at Coin, we were talking about this last week. If I could remember, T Wang, I don't know if he's in here today, but we were kind of down here. Intraday kind of was annoying. That day was like kind of inside bar. We had this weekly. I'm still looking at potential liquidity sweep lower for a swing trade if this were to happen. We talked a bit about this, but for today, intraday, I did see that we had a nice large range bar off here, clearing this back off the 20. Now it is more range over the past several weeks, so got to be a little cautious on here with the lack of potential fall through. Okay, but we're coming from this low range for the past couple of weeks. Wide range bar closed back above the rising 20 here, but sideways kind of 20 here. So see if we can potentially get some fall through. Bitcoin is slightly down a little bit there. This is Coinbase here. But kind of two tickers that I'm kind of looking at other than the Mag 7 that potentially might be able to get some fall through to the upside. Doesn't mean right off the open I'm going to get long. I'm going to see how that intraday tape, if you will, price action and setup unravels as we ding, 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 open in about 4 minutes. Apple, weekly on the left. Apple, interesting. Why not? I mean, I'm pleasantly surprised at this thing. Well, not too surprised, but basing, nice rally, got some momentum here. Why not have Apple join the all-time high club and poke out into a new high, 260 all-time high? We're trading 253s. Get a nice little breakaway. Week last week, right? Fall through, and then it happened basically on Monday. And then all of the remainder of the days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and even tomorrow, yesterday being Monday, has just been basing. Now, folks, could this be a base, and a potential? What's the higher time frame trend now? Still up. We're visiting all-time highs potentially on Apple. Could this be the base, and a breakout to the potential upside? Okay, to join the new all-time high club. Why not? Right? Why not? It's right there. Right? Get some buyers to just punch that up really quickly. Okay. All right, that could be the basing for the break there, leaning against this wide range bar here. All right, so we'll see. Now it could go lower before we go higher, right? So if we were to swipe, now yesterday's low, yesterday's high is here inside. These are all inside. So this is what's called the mother bar. So last Thursday, the 25th, okay, we had a high and a low. That's kind of the mother bar. So watch out. If we do swipe below, say down to this 250 handle, this could be a pickup long, okay, because it might want to do what, folks? Before it potentially breaks out, it could do what's called a fakey breaky, where it breaks out, trap some short sellers here. Oh, it just broke these lows. It's a red bar. Still, albeit leaning against this wide range bar here on the daily. Okay, So watch out for some liquidity sweeping below here. There's a setup here, okay? I actually have options that I'm looking to leg into, folks. Okay, giving y'all some free stuff on YouTube, on the tube here, all right? Where I have limit orders in pending that in the event that Apple does, because I'll still day trade it here today, but I also have a plan in the backdrop where in the event that we do swipe at or on here below 251, 250s, down in this area, where I'm going to be legging in for these liquidity sweeps below here, okay, for a potential new all-time high tag. All right, at 260s. All right, so a little bit play there. See if we can take Apple from like 250 to maybe 260 all-time high, then I'll dump some. All right, I got this, of course, in my long-term portfolio. Who does not own Apple in their long-term portfolio? It's 2025, as we're on an Apple 87 now, right? iPhone 87, so blah, blah, blah. So if you are long Apple long-term portfolio, okay, I'm personally going to be shaving out of some shares in the event that we do get all-time highs. Already started to shave out some shares, publicly speaking, last week or 2 weeks ago, give or take, too, as well, mentioning it up here. All right, and okay, let's move on. Market's about to open. I'm not even. Yeah, KK. Okay. Hood is a ripper yesterday. Yep. Mark Wahlberg took some more shares out long term, and been loving that day trade wise as well. Do not have enough time to go through the gaps. Never do on this YouTube sesh. About to get the open. So I'm gonna switch this to the daily on the right, 2 minute on the left. And ding, ding, ding. One of the greatest sounds in the world, at least in my world, in my small world. We get advanced declines, opening below zero line, nothing too crazy. Advanced declines, positive or negative 2,000 would be extreme. VIX on VIX kind of hanging out here, internal wise. Just a quick peek. Vol D slightly higher, 1-to-1 ratio. Extreme would be positive or negative 3, nothing too crazy. SPYs, I mean, there's basically nothing in terms of a gap there, just opening up within yesterday's kind of late day range. So make sure this is cooking. Kurt, I saw your email, brother, in terms of, and I'd never answer emails, but I saw your notation with what you put in there, brother. I'm going to use that to clear my cache on toss. Thank you, brother, for that. See JP Morgan. JP Morgan. Just doing its thing. JP Morgan's algo is just like up, high, 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 low. My man Eric A. 31 seconds? Last week it was 30 seconds. Dang, YouTube restream. Taking off a second from this, from us. Netflix average while lower, but that's in range. I gotta avoid Netflix, unfortunately. Navid. AMD, so rangy, kind of want to be careful with that. Just in the middle on the 20. NVIDIA trying to do something there. All right, here's coin on the radar. As aforementioned. We do have the right wedge bar. We'd like to see it back above the 20 on the small time frame even as well. Daily. Let's see, coin. Hood. I mean, Hood is just in the abyss. It's one of my better trades, even long-term investment. We got along in this part. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Anyways, moving on here. I mean, it's in the abyss. It's stretched. It's stretched, but that could continue to go there. I want to be a little bit careful with it, however, I will say. Carvana was the other. Trying to do its thing there. Wide range bar. pulling back. This one's a little bit better than, say, coin at the moment. All right, but we got mag weakness here. At the moment. I mean, you just got to go with hood. All right, I'm just going to snag some hood calls real quick. And when I get to mag 7, dropping a bit there, right? The mags. So we're trading 138 handle. Go to the 141 handle potentially here. Long call here, hood. Copy this code. This is the call premium here. Yep, I see you, Mark Wahlberg, with those sweeps, brother. Kaysen, I'm not sure, brother. As a trader, you just got to prepare, organize, do your thing, and then take what comes to you. Never know. I don't know. You know, nobody knows. Nobody knows for that matter, right? So, you know, I'm not even thinking about that. You know, I have it prepared. I'm ready to go. I have a plan, but I'm also taking other setups in the meantime, right? That's all. All right. Anybody long hood here? Oh, I didn't forgot to specify which account here. My other one. All right, this is hood right out the gate. All right, folks. So bought these calls, 260 premium, quick little dollar right there, right? To take some up, TP. Thoughts on gold close yesterday? Gold has been a raging bull. And TP some of this hood. That's a quick buck there. And is it okay for gold to come down for a couple of days, folks? Yes or no? I mean, could it stay on the moon forever? So even if you have a couple of red bars close on daily lower, that doesn't mean that, right? So just map out your levels below, prepare, right? Nice ripper on hood here. Nice. Grab this more. All right, this is a call premium. You want this premium to go higher, right? All right, make sure you're TPing. Hey, Coinbase. There goes coin. Anybody snag this already? Coin. Bruce. Coin. I guess I'll just pick up the 347. Spread's kind of annoying on this. I will say we could probably get a better price on this if it pulls back. Just clipped higher. Oh, terrible. 444. Spread is so annoying on this. That's the only challenge with this. So this is coin long call here. All right. A little bit late on it. As I was working on hood. All right. Norman, you see that, right, brother? All right. I'm so late to this. Not so late. A little bit there, though, because this was the kind of official positive CRG here that I was waiting for. I was working on hood. Matter of fact, I got to take a little bit more profit on hood. I see the mag 7 kind of clipping lower. I want to be patient on that. Hit some more hood here, folks. I would suggest. We do have news, as somebody had mentioned in chat, in about 20-something odd minutes, right? Good job, team. All right. Hood, a beaut at the moment. Nice, easy trade as I'm kind of waiting for a sifting of the indexes there. Hood's just on fire. I didn't even touch a mag 7 yet. VIX on lows for overnight. Advanced decline is trickling above the positive mark there. Vol D up. Let's see. SPX equal weighted. Mags. The mags are heavy. Keep eye on the video. And the video basing throughout this whole drop in the mags. Amazon at yesterday's low. Yeah, let me check Meta out. Meta looks like it's going to hunt for some liquidity below here. Might be a swing setup potentially coming up. It's a nasty close on Meta for monthly. I'm going to talk to you about this more, Mark Wahlberg and team on Meta tomorrow in live trade room. We have a lot more time. It's setting up a nice little liquidity sweep for like a swing trade. I got to check monthlies on this though. So tonight's going to be interesting because we have a new candle opening and closing. For today, we already kind of swept on this. Let's lean against something. However, we'll view NVIDIA. NVIDIA giving us a setup here. MU. Ooh, good one, Mark. Nice follow through MU. NVIDIA looking good. There's a positive CRG right there. Mark Wahlberg hit it. I should have went to MU before Meta. Grab some NVID here. No, I don't want to get too far away from me here. Long call NVIDIA. This is a little late. You might want to get in some and maybe put a pullback order in. So I got the 185 strike call bullish on NVDA ticker. MU looking juicy too. All right, I'm gonna pull a pullback order, and this is the 185 strike call premium chart on the vid. Put some bid orders in here. At 160 premium, I'll even do a 145 premium here. All right, so long call, get some orders to leg in further lower if we get that. All right. All right, coin making a new high here. All right, so I had a TP order in, so y'all take a profit on some coin if you are in it. Yep, John. Did okay on Hood. It was an easy setup, brother. You know what I mean? I appreciate that. Right, and it was good because I messed up Tesla so bad on Friday. I threw up on myself on Saturday morning reanalyzing Tesla of what I did. Gross. All right, did y'all get some filled here on the vid? Got a little pop up on that. All right, they're gonna start to TP some. One of these orders got filled in the pullback. I was on both ends of. I was the liquidity on Tesla. Gross. I don't even care about the money. I wasn't aggressive enough on the TPs. All right, if the vid gets up to yesterday's high and very close to last week's high and basically all-time high, TP some. Blue or buys, red or sells, what have you. All right, so bullish long call, and these are going to be what? TP, take profit, sell to exit. It's just the candle overlay daily. I should be putting this on a 30 over here, that said. And of course, that has to be annoying. TSM. This thing's a beast, TSM. I already have this on the list. YT just being on each side on daily highs, daily lows. I was like swiping myself out. I'll get to that in a moment. Hold on one sec, bro. The delay kills me on this with restream. Staying positive. We got a TSM. This is decent. We're closing outside of the Bollinger Bands on monthly, which is a little careful. We have to be a little cautious on that. Let's see. For day trade, it's kind of inside day still. You might have to be a little careful with it. The monthly is closing outside of the 2 standard deviations, so we got to be a little careful. So if this is the pullback, this could give us a quick little new high tag here. But be careful because we're off the mean revert a little bit more too. So it could. I hate to say it can go lower and higher. That's cheesy to say. But that closing outside of the monthly Bollinger Band is a red flag there. Right, but even though here we close outside of Bollinger Band here, that month we did swipe up real quick, made a quick new high, and then we pulled back. All right. So and that's who mentioned this, Nick. And Nick knows the deal there. Apple giving us a setup there, following through. Careful with Coinbase. Hopefully I'll TP'd a little bit aggressive on that. Yeah, Apple trying there, right? So keep Apple on the list. In 8 minutes, we're going to get news plus this 30-bar print, the 30-minute bar print here. Pull back nicely. We're basing overall. This is that wide range bar on the daily here. Doink. All right, Apple's basing, flirting with the outside Bollinger Bands on the monthly and on the weeklies and the dailies, but it's this basing. You see how it's clock and time basing. So definitely worthwhile there. This is looking good, decent. So you can always be patient with it, but it's trying to go here. We got a positive COG. So if you want to try to leg into this a bit early right now, you got something going here. So, AVGO, somebody had mentioned, I know it's going down at the moment right now, albeit, Gotta be careful shorting that thing, but it's been on the pullback. Was some fall through lower. Yeah, I still got some limits in on that pink ski. Indeed, brother. All right, defend VWAP. That's more one of the bullish ones, other than like kind of hood. Visa was probably a sneaky, easy play too. Probably better than Morg. Somebody had mentioned this nice pop there. Good job, team. Off the 20. It's sloppy, but sloppy here. But that 200 pair moving average. Super key. Good one there. That looks like this. Yeah, the video just filled, right? We'll grab some other account. All right, a little slam below VWAP. Be a little careful with it. All right, we'll see. Right now we got a clip lower. Not looking good, right? In the video. Apple. If you wanted to take a shot at Apple, you gotta test right here. VIX is not super screaming here. I'm gonna get long call Apple. I'll keep it low risk for right now. I'll pick up the 34 delta here for a 257 half strike. News in about 4 minutes. This is the 257 half strike call Apple bullish. Over here. Come on. All right. All right, low risk. If this has no fall through, we make new low on day on this. Stop out probably like below a buck, give or take. So it's about 30. I say 30 to 50. Well, more than 30. I'd say 45 to 60 cents, give or take, of stop loss placement, etc. On the premium there. All right, and news is coming out, so just have some targets out here too. If we get a spike. All right. NVIDIA bouncing off its VWAP. All right. So could you decrease some NVIDIA if you want to decrease some of the event risk as we added? Boom. Say no more. All right. All right, cool. So lay out some orders here, right? All right. Good job, Pinsky. How y'all doing? All right. For news coming out. Apple. Bro, gold is like the easiest thing on the planet's chart. Bro, gold is like so easy. Paid my mortgage last month on one trade. It's so easy. It's fucking up. Gold, 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 gold. Bro, we've been screaming gold bullish for the month of September, before the month of September, like for like 3 weeks, for 3 months in September, in the summer solstice. Teaching classes like September is going to be breakout for gold, seasonality wise. Monthly daily up, it's been basing for 3 months. It's going to pop. See ya. All right, news is out. Y'all getting some Apple here? Yeah. Get some Apple. NVIDIA new high. TP some vid. Right? News is neutral. I don't even care. I didn't even check. All right, TP. I'm just trading the charts, right? So yeah, it's important news, right? But boom, boom. Make sure you're decreasing some right, some size here. Got the move, or a little bit of a move there. All right, these are all just TPs. Nice hit. I don't even care about fucking everybody. Everybody's reading the document saying, yeah, this is what it's going to do. It's going to be bullshit bearish. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. Based off this, the Fed is going to do this. Based off that, the Fed is going to do that. The ding dong, I'm already done for the day. See you. 30-minute work week. 30-minute work day. Just bought it VWAP and sell out on new highs. So smart. So smart. Coins at 420 noise. If you want to TP some more there. Indeed, KK. Indeed, sir. Indeed, indeed. Mm-mm. All right, NVIDIA TP. Fuck yeah, let's go. Oops, excuse my language. Pinksky. His name is Dylan. Pinksky. He just be chilling. Tapey. Pinksky. Add on the video pullback of view up. Indeed, sir. Indeed. I call Dylan Pinksky. Dumpsky on some of the vids. Nice ad, Pinksky, Dylan. His name is Dylan Pinksky. He just be chilling. Ripping tapey. You want to be like him? Go to TP, TradePhantoms.com. Most retail traders lose. Let's help fix that shit. If you click on register, because I'm banging out of here. See ya. Thursday, October 2nd. What? October? My favorite month. Legends are born there. Wink, wink. I am born in October. Scorpio. It's showing, so let me calm down. 2 days and 8 hours away. If you put your name, your email, and your phone number, nobody's gonna call you. I don't give a shit. Nobody from here, but well, yeah. I mean, if you join, you get an onboarding call. Yay! But if you wanted to check this out, see what it's like, you can click on that there. Hit register. Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You will be hosted by the Mr. Black or the Mr. Green. Sometimes both of them will help out. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dylan. You know I love you, man. You know I love you, man. What's going on, Wall Street Boone? Love you too. Willie Beeman. Willie Beeman. Keep the ladies. So we're going to keep this PG-13. Mr. Green, Mr. Black will take you through what Phantoms is like. If you like it, cool. If you don't like it, I don't give a shit. We don't give a shit, right? We will show you how things really work. We're all professionals on this side here. Multi-direction, up, down, even, sideways, and options. If you're here to just starting small, trading for income with a couple $1,000s, a couple $100 to your name, all good. No, we don't judge nobody here at all. We have some folks in high school, 17 years old, right? 16 years old, starting out, right? We have people that are, of course, in the retirement wealth side of things, 70 years old, and everybody in the middle. All good. Come on, come on. Okay, we do a whole thing here. Stocks, not just stocks, futures, forex, options, even crypto these days. I love me some Bitcoin, Ether, etc. The main ones there. No pump and dumps. We all trade real products here. And if you like it, cool. If you don't like it, that's cool as well. We'll still do our thing here, train people who are serious about this. And that said, I'll see some of y'all later today. And then tomorrow, God willing, we are in our live trade room where there's no delay. And we'll take it from there and take whatever the markets have to offer as we do. Creed, can you defeat me? You're dreaming. Rex, get your Rex Max. Let's go. Blue out. Trade safe. Don't give back gains in the morning. I'll see y'all soon. Blue out.